Part 82. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 815. After a few uneventful days, Musashi and others finally returned to the port area. Qin looked up at the people in front of him and couldn't help but smile and said, "Looking at you, the construction of the scientific research ship girl this time is very successful. Let me hear who has been constructed." Haha, the commander actually noticed it like this. It seems we have to learn more from Bismarck. If we are as calm as her, we won't be discovered so easily by the commander, right? Enterprise smiled. Ha, no, each of you has your own unique personality. Bismarck is cold on the outside and hot on the inside, so don't deliberately imitate her, otherwise it will be bad if everyone in the port area is cold-faced, Qin said quickly. Haha, I heard what the commander said. I will tell Bismarck when I get back, Prince Eugen joked on the side. Qin glanced at Prince Eugen helplessly, although it's okay even if you say it, it's best not to. Haha. For a moment, there was a burst of joyful laughter in the office. Ahem, back to the topic, what was the result this time? Qin asked. I can only say that it exceeded expectations, Musashi smiled. Exceeding expectations, Qin was stunned for a moment. Let me guess, did you construct 2 decisive battle plans? Haha, Commander, are your expectations so low? King George V laughed. Qin touched his nose and said, a decisive battle plan is hard to come by. After all, they are equivalent to maritime legends. You must know that our port area, including Frederick the Great, only has 8 maritime legend levels. Oh, yes, there is also a colorful cloth, but that little guy is considered a logistics unit and is not included in it. Although there is something Versailles about Qin sentence, it is indeed the case. Otherwise, this world would not have lost a single maritime legend for such a long time. Haha, Commander, can you guess how many decisive battle plans have been constructed this time? Enterprise said with a smile. Qin glanced at several people, all of whom were smiling, but no one gave him any hints. 3, Qin said, a number that he thought was a lot. After all, the Legend of the Sea was based on the number of ships. There were only 8 out of more than 500 ship girls, which was already a lot. Haha, it seems that the commander's expectations are still very low. Enterprise smiled. The real number is this number multiplied by 2. 6, Qin stood up suddenly, looking a little stunned. Yes, 1 aircraft carrier, 3 super armored cruisers, 1 heavy cruiser, and 1 light cruiser, Enterprise replied. Huh? Why are there no battleships? Qin asked, confused. If you include Frederick the Great, there are still battleships, Prince Eugen reminded him. Well, I know, I'm just a little confused. Qin smiled. It's very good. Every decisive battle plan has powerful ships. Coupled with the maritime legend in the port area, the strength of our fleet has been greatly improved. Now, compared with before, it is simply a qualitative change. Yes, I think back then we only had more than 200 people. In fact, our actual combat strength was only more than 100 people, so we dared to charge in front of the 9 camps and face the Arbiter to turn the tide. Although he did not participate in many top battles, he is already considered very powerful for this world. However, less than 3 months have passed and our strength has undergone qualitative changes compared to before. Regardless of the high-end combat power or the number of fleet personnel, this is simply unimaginable. King George V said with some emotion. Qin nodded, but this is just the beginning. Our fleet will become more powerful in the future. It is only a matter of time. By the way, you guys are here just in time. I have something to tell you. This is something I have been thinking about for a long time. Before, the number of people was too small, but now that we have more people in the port area, then it's time to implement it too. Oh, what's the matter, Commander? everyone became more energetic when they heard Qin Ji taking such initiative. Qin Ji smiled and said, "Our current approach to new ship girls and previous ship girls in the port area is to let the old lead the new, or to train together among the same camp, so that they can integrate into the fleet. I'm not saying that this method is bad, but I may have been able to integrate into the group quickly when there were few people in the past, but now I feel a little confused. Just like there are many ship girls now, they all form small groups of their own camps to carry out activities, and it is rare for multiple camps to participate. Therefore, I plan to build a large lecture hall, library, training ground, and club classrooms for various club activities in the port area based on the model of the Commander's Academy. This will not only systematically teach our ship girls some experience and knowledge about the battlefield, but also allow them to integrate into a group and eliminate prejudices between camps as much as possible. After all, we are a fleet and a whole, and I don't want internal divisions to occur in the future. I support the Commander's opinion. In fact, I have wanted to mention this matter for a long time. Mainly because every day I see destroyers and other people running around the port area with nothing to do except training. This is a very bad state. Since we are now operating as a port area, we have to use some systems to restrain them. After all, they are children and they are also warriors. Musashi nodded, looked at Qin Ji and said with great appreciation, "There is no rule without rules. Comprehensive learning can also enable everyone to make progress together. I naturally support such a decision," Genhai said with a smile. "I support it too." Soon, Qin Ji's proposal won the support of everyone. After all, such a proposal was beneficial and harmless to the port area. Although it may cause some trouble to some more playful destroyers, after everyone gets together, they can make more friends. Isn't this another form of entertainment? Well, since you all support it, then this resolution will be passed immediately, and then the questions about the specific address of the lecture hall and the facilities and materials will be left to you. There is also the matter of expanding the playground in the port area, which should be resolved together with this matter. The current playground in the port area is too monotonous and was built entirely for destroyers. I think the playground must be more comprehensive. For example, some stadiums, even racetracks, and other facilities can be added, so that everyone can live a fulfilling life and have fun every day in the port area, instead of doing nothing like this every day. Qin Ji said. Understood. Regarding the innovation of port facilities, we will actually refer to it next, and then sort out a plan to impress the commander. If the commander thinks it is okay, we will build it according to the planned facilities. Now we have the Mangio logistics team can guarantee the construction speed, the company said. Well, then it's decided. By the way, you can draw up a list of teachers, the kind that will convince everyone, Qin Ji said. Clear. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 816. In the Grand Fleet Conference Room in the office area, since many days have passed since the Chinese New Year, the commanders who visited relatives in Donghuang also returned here with their ship girls. As the beginning of the year, the Grand Fleet also has to hold a meeting on the specific operation strategies for this year. Commander finally remembered us. We haven't had such a formal meeting for a long time. I thought you had forgotten us all, Wang Yukan teased with a smile. Qin Ji, who was sitting in the main seat, smiled helplessly. You also have your own fleet, and as the fleet gets better and better, there are more and more ship girls in your fleet. I believe you spend most of your time using it to accompany your wife, who wants to waste their spare time on a man. Well, although the commander is telling the truth, it's not good to say it so directly. Wu Hao blinked and said. Haha, what's wrong? Everyone here is a commander, and our family members don't speak the same language. Now the tone of the Grand Fleet has stabilized, and there are fewer ordinary things, so everyone can have more spending all your time with your wife. This kind of life should be the most comfortable, right, Qin Ji said with a smile. So when I don't have anything important to do, I won't call everyone together. After all, you all have your own lives. We are not as rich and interesting as the commander's life. Now that there are more than 500 ship girls in your port area, we need to expand outwards. Do you want us to move to the outer port? Anyway, there are not many of us. Will the entire harbor be left to you? Li Chenming said with a smile. Qin Ji touched his nose and said, isn't this good? I never planned it like this before. Come on, Commander, just have fun. Yunzi smiled, this is actually a decision we made together. After all, your fleet is getting stronger and stronger now, and it is no longer inferior to any other camp. What's more, there are still many things in the port area that we can't understand. If we live here, it will indeed affect your layout. So regardless of whether we agree or reject this time, we decided to disperse our gathering places to the outer harbor area. Li Chenming nodded, Yunzi is right. Guam is actually not big, but it is not small. We currently have 4 ports available on the island, and we send ship girls to patrol and change them every day. The defense was really delayed, so I decided to program the rest of us into 3 teams, and we will be responsible for the defense of the other 3 ports in Guam in the future. In this way, with a stable defense, there is no need for the ship girl to switch defenses back and forth, which greatly saves time every day, and everyone also has a certain task, so that no matter which direction the enemy comes from, they can fight as quickly as possible, discover and deploy defenses to hold off the enemy until reinforcements arrive. Qin Ji nodded, this is a good idea, but if this happens, won't it be more difficult for us to work in the future? No. Li Chenming shook his head, I wonder if the commander still remembers the visual communication technology that the port area researched before. You know, I've seen the file before. Is there any breakthrough now? Qin Ji asked. Well, because this is a joint research and development by the Grand Fleet ship girls, generally the detailed information will come from me to you. New progress has been made in the research and development during this period. As long as a signal tower is built in the center of Guam that can radiate to the surrounding areas, smooth and stable visual communication within Guam can be ensured. And after calculations, it can even cover the sea area with a radius of 50 kilometers outside Guam, which also allows us to understand the sea state information of nearby sea areas in a timely manner. In the future, meetings and notifications can be completely carried out using visual communication, so that even if we are far apart, we can still use visualization to sit together and have joint meetings like now. Li Chenming replied. Well, that's a good point. It seems that our station is going to undergo a drastic remodeling. Qin Ji smiled and said, actually, I also plan to expand the port area. In addition to building some more comfortable residences for ship wives, we are also planning to build a place similar to the Ship Girl Academy. Jian Niang Academy. In an instant, everyone was attracted by Qin Ji's words. Yes, the Kenmu Academy is a place where the Kenmu's combat skills are completely taught. There is a large lecture hall that teaches tactics, a training ground that teaches skills and tactics, and there are also some places for the reasonable use of the Kenmu's skills, similar to the Kenmu version of Commander Academy. I will select some experienced ship girls from my fleet to teach there. You can also send your own ship girls to study there when you have nothing to do. After all, everything in the sea area is relatively stable now, and too many people are in a state of having nothing to do after training. Therefore, establishing a party-building academy can allow them to find things to do, and also allow them to better integrate into the collective and cultivate their ability in combat. Tacit understanding among them. Qin Ji said. This proposal is better and I absolutely support it. Chen Beijun said. Yes, I quite support it. The destroyers in my family are really out of touch. It takes me a lot of time to settle them every day. If there is such a ship girl academy to manage it, it can teach them some knowledge. If so, that would be great. Yunzi smiled. Others also supported it, and were obviously very satisfied with Qin Ji's proposal. Originally, I was still planning on the location of the academy, but now that you plan to disperse it across 3 ports, let's make use of the outer posts and place the Kanyang Academy only in the outer ports, so that you can reach the destination from the other 3 ports. The distances to the outer harbor are almost the same. A distance of more than 10 kilometers is not difficult at all for those of you equipped with a car. Moreover, the Kanyang Academy adopts the principle of freedom and is fully open during peacetime and temporarily closed during wartime. You can come and take classes at any time, and there are no tough courses. The most important thing is to give the girls a place where they can learn and have fun. This is our aim. Qin Ji said. No problem, everyone nodded. Then the Ship Girl Academy should be funded by our fleet. It cannot always be funded by the commander, otherwise we will look too useless, Zhang Xiaoming said with a smile. I agree, this is something that will benefit all the ship girls in our fleet. The capital provided by the fleet is definitely not an exaggeration. Moreover, after experiencing the last siren tide, we have also accumulated a very considerable income. Building a ship girl academy is it's not a problem, Li Chenming nodded. That's not good. In fact, although your ship girls can also come to study, the main personnel are still my ship girls. Letting you also contribute money is a bit of a suspicion of lining your own pockets, Qin Ji said speechlessly. Haha, the commander is wrong. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 817. Commander, you are wrong. Do you know how many of our classmates at the same level are still alive? Zhang Yingwei asked. Qin Ji shook his head. Although I don't know, judging from the current situation of each camp, the Donghuan camp is relatively good, but it has also suffered heavy losses. Yes, I went back this time to specifically inquire about this aspect, and the answers I got were shocking. After the siren tide passed this time, there were more than 100 graduates in our class, and only those who arrived here were left. 20. This still includes the numbers we counted. If we were not counted, the number would be even more tragic, almost all in single digits. Zhang Yingwei said, and the others couldn't help but look heavy. So now we can safely be here and plan the next direction of the port area entirely because of the commander. To be honest, I am very grateful for the previous choice, and I also want to do something for this large fleet. This time the construction of the Ship Girl Academy just gave me this opportunity, so I hope the commander will never stop us. Even if it's just once, let's do something for this fleet. Yes, in fact, most of the students who graduated from your class stayed in coastal defense cities. Those who were on the front line before me suffered even more casualties. Almost 9 out of 10 commanders died. To be honest, when I went back this time, my parents didn't want me to come out again. I can understand their mood, but I still came out without hesitation. Even if I die, I want to die on the battlefield instead of dying at home. So as Yingwei said before, it was the presence of the commander that allowed us to have such a lucky result. We will also contribute our own strength to the future construction of the fleet. This fleet is also our fleet. Zhang Yao said. Qin Ji nodded. Since you have said so, then it will be unreasonable for me to object again. This time, the construction of the Ship Girl Academy will be funded by the Grand Fleet, and the Mangio logistics team shared by the Grand Fleet will also be used to participate. Strive for early success in construction. Then let's continue with the following meeting. Starting from this year, the 9 major camps will gradually set up service points here, but not on the main island of Guam, but on the islands next to Guam. I had already set up service points when I came back from the Atlantic Ocean. Confirmed some details with them. So this year, our patrol range will be larger than before. Except for the experimental island, which does not need to be patrolled, the other islands of Guam are within our patrol range. Except for necessary circumstances, the 9 major camps must enter and exit the Mariana Islands along our prescribed waterways. If any abnormality occurs, please notify me in time. When necessary, tough measures can be taken. Qin Ji said. Strong measures, Li Chenming asked doubtfully, force. Qin Ji smiled and said, I don't admit it, but I don't deny it either. Ahem, Commander, that's a bit too much. Is it really okay to treat the top leaders of the 9 major camps like this? Yun Zi touched her nose. Qin Ji smiled and said, Sir, times have changed. In the past, we had to rely on the 9 major camps, but now, we are on an equal footing with the 9 major camps. If that's the case, then they have to listen to us in our territory. I believe they will understand this simple truth, right? And I also believe that as long as the top leaders of the 9 major camps are not so stupid that they can't turn around, they should know to retain a certain amount of humility when dealing with other people's territory. Well, I feel like what the commander is saying now is very oppressive, Wang Yukin said. Ha, there is no so-called sense of oppression. It's just that because I have become stronger, I have become more confident, Qin Ji said with a smile. Anyway, you should remember that we are no longer the force that can be manipulated by others. The last siren tide has already told the world about our strength, so you must also be confident. Although the transformation is not as fast as the commander, we will still try, Zhang Xiaotian said. Haha, I didn't say that you should become arrogant and domineering. It means that we are not afraid of anyone or anything now. So when we abide by etiquette and be ourselves, if others violate our rules interference, then we must take action. And I have also discussed some matters with the 9 major camps, and I believe they will not make such low-level mistakes easily. In addition, after they arrive, they will establish some research institutes and the like here, and may issue some tasks for you to complete. All you need to do is cooperate actively. Just like the previous large fleet mission in Donghuang, there is nothing mandatory. Just complete whatever you feel you can accomplish. The rest will be directly coordinated with my fleet. Qin Ji said. That's how I understand, Li Chenming nodded. I thought you wanted us to confront the 9 major camps directly. Qin Ji smiled. The 9 major camps are the forces we should unite with, so except for some unnecessary situations, we must maintain etiquette most of the time. Since we are now on the same level as them, we naturally have our own responsibilities and confidence. When the time comes, everyone can just do what they usually do, and leave everything else to me. I understand, everyone responded, with excitement and anticipation between their brows. After all, when they first joined the Grand Fleet, no one thought that one day it would become like this. Okay, let's move on to the next project meeting. The meeting lasted for half a day, basically arranging the general affairs of the Grand Fleet for the next year, and it was also a summary of the previous stages. After the meeting ended, everyone left the meeting, leaving Qin Ji and Li Chenming alone in the conference room. I didn't expect it to come to this point. What are your plans next? Li Chenming looked at Qin Ji and asked. Unite the 9 major camps to make this world a better place. I hope that the mass deaths of commanders like the last siren tide will never happen again, Qin Ji said. I believe you have this ability, but as for the sirens, when you reach a certain level of strength, will you have a decisive battle with them? Li Chenming asked. Qin Ji smiled and said, the decisive battle or something, why do you think of this now? Just asking, Li Chenming said helplessly. Not necessarily. If Siren has that idea, I will naturally accompany her to the end, but I'm afraid that even if we have strong troops and horses, we won't be able to find their specific location, and there will be no way to use my strength. So now when it comes to the future, everything is too far away, so we just have to deal with the present. Qin Ji said. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu Ji. Chapter 818. Although it has been suspected of diverting the attention of other ship girls in the port area since the Chinese New Year, the oath ceremony is still being steadily prepared. Although it was preparation, it was just waiting for Akashi's wedding dress to be in place. Because Akashi had said before that he had to tell her the list of pledgers so that she could prepare corresponding pledge dresses for them. Just a few days ago, Qin Ji submitted the list of Dong Huang and Changying to Akashi, so no matter how fast Akashi is, it will take several days to prepare. But finally, the day came to receive the goods. Looking at the familiar Fenguang Sci-Fi in his hands, as well as the Bai Wujiao with a very heavy Sakura style, Qin Ji suddenly felt a little excited in his heart, but more importantly, he felt a sense of responsibility. After all, I have to make vows with so many ship girls at one time, so as a person involved, I naturally don't need to say more. Haha, Comrade Commander, I see that your expression is a bit complicated. Shouldn't it be full of excitement and joy at this time? Kronstadt, standing next to Qin Ji, said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded. It is true that I should feel joy and expectations at this time, but when I look at these vow attires, I feel a heavy responsibility. Responsibility, Kronstadt said with a smile, but I think the commander is already very responsible. To be honest, after arriving in the port area, I did some research on the comrade commander. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment. Investigation? What do I need to investigate? What are the results of the investigation? Seeing Qin Ji's dumbfounded smile, Kronstadt smiled and said, I can still chat with you here and call you comrade, which naturally means that the result is good. Qin Ji smiled and said, I thought you found out my shortcomings through investigation, and I was about to humbly ask for advice on how to correct them, but you told me this. Everyone wants others to praise themselves, but Comrade Commander wants me to point out your shortcomings. It's really strange. Kronstadt laughed. There is no way. With a group of outstanding people like you, I have to constantly improve myself in all aspects to avoid being left too far behind, Qin Ji said with a smile. Actually, Comrade Commander, you are too self-effacing. Whether you are comrades from the Northern Alliance or friends from other camps, they all speak highly of you. They have used almost every excellent word I can think of. So just be yourself, there is no need to become better. People sometimes have to have some shortcomings, so that they can be seen as a person. Otherwise, if there are no shortcomings, they will become what Yu Donghuan calls a saint. Kronstadt laughed. That's right, no one is a saint, and no one can make mistakes. Qin Ji nodded. Speaking of which, you can get this information, and it seems that I get along well with other people in the port area. Of course, as long as you treat others sincerely, others will also treat you sincerely and compare your feelings with yourselves, Kronstadt said boldly. Qin Ji nodded. That's right. It seems that I can already predict that you will have many friends in the port area in the future. Thank you very much, Comrade Commander. Kronstadt said, today's patrol mission has been completed, and Comrade Commander has these clothes. Why don't I go and call the Royal Belfast? How about asking her to accompany you back? Qin Ji touched his nose and said, thank you very much. You should go and have an early rest later. Don't worry, I still have to check out the construction of the Northern Union dormitory. Anyway, I'm leaving first, Kronstadt said. Well, see you tomorrow. Not long after, Belfast's figure appeared in front of Qin Ji. Master, I have kept you waiting. As soon as I received the message from Miss Kronstadt, I came over immediately. It doesn't matter how long we have to wait. Qin Ji shook his head and pointed at the wedding dress beside him and said, please put these in the ship's outfit space, and then give them to them separately when you have free time. Oh, is this the Dong Huang and Chongying style vow dress? It's very beautiful. Belfast picked up one and looked at it. Qin Ji smiled and said, this is the wedding dress of Dong Huang and Chongying. It can only be worn on the day of the vows. It cannot be worn on ordinary days. I will ask Kakashi next time to see if she has Dong Huang style. Chong Sam, I can get you one when the time comes. Is it suitable for the same Chong Sam that Miss Guanghui wore last time? Belfast asked. Yachin Ji nodded, but Guanghui's Chong Sam is a bit too revealing, although it looks pretty. Haha, actually the master likes that, Belfast said with a smile. Qin Ji touched his nose and said, well, you don't need to say these things directly. After all, I am also a man, and I always yearn for beautiful things. So tonight, master, would you like to see my wedding dress? I haven't tried it on since you got it back last time. Belfast smiled. Qin Ji thought for a while, although I really want to see it, let's save this surprise for that day. After all, that outfit is prepared for that day. Belfast smiled, his eyes filled with infinite tenderness, then let's do what the master wants. By the way, today's work has been completed, right? Qin Ji nodded, indeed, after all, the time has come to this point. In fact, it has been completed a long time ago. It was just delayed for a while because of study. Then the master must be a little tired now. Is he going to his room to rest? Or does he want to relax? Belfast asked. Relax, I've been a little too nervous in the past 2 days, Qin Ji said. By the way, where's Guanghui? Why haven't I seen her in the past few days? Miss Guanghui has been training with several other ladies recently. She should have tea in the room in the afternoon, Belfast said. Okay, let's go there together, just in time to drink tea and have a rest. Then we can go to the hot springs in the Sardinian Empire. It's almost evening, Qin Ji said. I understand. Master, do you need me to inform Miss Guanghui in advance? Belfast said. Qin Ji shook his head, that's the plan, but maybe if I meet someone else on the road and invite me, I might change it by then, so just take it one step at a time. Belfast chuckled and said, that's right, then let's set off, master. Yeah, Qin Ji nodded. As Qin Ji said, the plan was like this, but on the way, he met Baltimore and the others and was invited by several people to play basketball. Seeing such a situation, Belfast couldn't help but be speechless, secretly feeling sorry for Guanghui. But after all, there is only one Qin Ji, and the closer he is, the more chances he will have. Belfast smiled and shook her head, turned and left the basketball court. Well, next she has to complete the task Qin Ji gave her. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 819. Qin Ji looked at the full-length mirror in front of him, and what was reflected in it was himself wearing a straight commander's uniform. Hermione and Charybdis stood beside Qin Ji, sorting out the wrinkles in his clothes. It's almost enough. I feel like I'm in very good condition today. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile bitterly as he watched the two people's movements. Haha, Commander, you have to keep improving today. After all, today is a big day for the port area and a big day for the commander, Hermione said with a smile. That's right, if the head maid finds wrinkles on the master's clothes, she will reprimand us. Charybdis laughed as he spoke. Qin Ji rolled his eyes. With how serious you are, it's surprising that Bifa can detect the problem. But then again, who helped her do it? It's impossible to do it by herself, right? The head maid heard that it's her sister Edinburgh and Sheffield, Hermione replied. After all, today is also the head maid's big day, so she has to dress up well. I'm really curious about the head maid wearing a wedding dress. It looks like it must be very beautiful, right? It will definitely be very beautiful. I also heard that the wedding dress worn by the head maid is called Carrot's Vow. It is a very beautiful wedding dress, Charybdis said enviously. Chin-ji smiled and said, I feel like you are envious beyond words, Charybdis. There is no way, after all, he will always stand by the master's side, but presumably only the head maid can get such an oath, Charybdis said with some envy. Well, although I can't promise you too much, even if there is no oath, you will always be by my side. And this is just the beginning. We will spend a lot of time together in the future. Maybe in the future one day you can be like Belfast and become the protagonist today, Chin-ji said with a smile. Really? Charybdis said in surprise, and Hermione looked at Charybdis and couldn't help laughing. Really? Chin-ji smiled and nodded. That's great, Charybdis said happily. Haha, just keep looking forward to this matter. The family commander will definitely fulfill his promise. But now is not the time to say this. The time is almost up. We have to go to the ceremony site, Commander. After all, in addition to all the ladies who made a vow to you today, there are also many people in Minato City. Hermione laughed. Well, it's really time to set off. Chin-ji looked at himself in the mirror and said, is everything okay? The master is already very handsome, Charybdis said. Indeed, although the commander is usually very handsome, he has an indescribable temperament today, Hermione said. Ha, if you continue to praise me like this, I will become narcissistic. Let's go, Chin-ji said with a smile. Several people left the room and headed towards the venue of the oath ceremony. The place where the oath ceremony was held this time was still the same chapel as before, but the appearance of the chapel had changed. Perhaps because of his return from Iris, when preparing for the oath ceremony, the chapel was renovated under the chairmanship of Richelieu. Although the scale has not expanded much now, it looks more primitive and elegant. When Chin-ji and others arrived at the scene, they found that the place had been shrouded in flowers and white ribbons, and the chapel was already surrounded by people. Even the most playful destroyers and submarines behaved particularly docilely today. Haha, the commander is here. Well, he looks very handsome. It seems that he has prepared a lot for today, King George V said. Chin-ji smiled. Actually, I feel the same as usual, but I was taken care of by Hermione and Charybdis today, so this is all their credit. Although I say that, it can be seen from the temperament and spirit that the commander cares about him, Musashi smiled. I can't help but care about it. After all, there are indeed a lot of people today. No one has ever performed a vow ceremony with so many people in one day, right? Chin-ji smiled bitterly. Originally, I wanted to prepare to come one by one. It's not good to push anyone to the front one by one, so let's do it together. This can make the port area more lively. Guanghui walked over at this time and said with a smile. People who have been here speak differently, Littorio said on the side, but having said that, Commander Richelieu is also one of them today, so who will help you host the ceremony? By the way, it would definitely not work for Bart and Gascogny, right? Sci-Fi is also the judge of Iris, and her words are a bit too serious. Chin-ji nodded, that's true, so I invited a special person today. Who? For a moment, the people nearby looked at Chin-ji in surprise, guessing the identity of this person. Ha, of course it's us at this time. Mikasa and Aurora walked over with a smile. Mikasa-senpai and Aurora? Haha, that's enough, Musashi smiled. Originally, I thought about inviting seniors Mikasa and Aurora from Commander Academy. After all, they have witnessed my growth, but in the end I thought about it. After all, the journey is indeed a bit long, and this is also our own business in Minato. It is still a bit presumptuous to invite others. So I thought of our fleet's own Mikasa and Aurora. With their qualifications, it was more than enough to host this oath ceremony for me. Chin-ji explained. Haha, even though I have taken advantage of the previous Mikasa, I will still try my best to complete what the commander asked me to do. Mikasa smiled. Yes, I didn't expect to be able to host such a grand oath ceremony so soon after arriving in the port area. It is indeed a big challenge for us, but since Comrade Commander has so much trust, we will naturally not let him down. Afroel said. Haha, we have indeed felt the momentum of the two seniors, Guanghui said with a smile. Is it almost time? At this time, York City came over and said, Commander, can the ceremony begin? Qin Ji took a deep breath and nodded, let's get started. We can't keep everyone waiting here. Ha, then the two of us will go and take our seats. Mikasa and Aurora laughed. Well, I'll leave it to you two today. As the melodious pledge march played, the pledge ceremony officially began. Under the gaze of all the ship girls, Qin Ji stood in the center of the crowd and looked in the direction of the arch made of garlands. At this time, there, one after another, the ship's ladies wearing wedding dresses came slowly. Like the warmest sunshine in spring, the shining light made Qin Ji's whole heart light up. Wait a minute, Commander, oh no, it's my dear. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 820. It has been a long time since the oath ceremony, and the port area has slowly returned to stability from the original lively atmosphere. Everyone is doing their own thing every day, and with the expansion of the port area, other commanders of the large fleet also left the inner port with their ship wives and went to other places to camp. The entire inner port area was Qin Ji and his ship girls were left. The result of this is that the entire expansion project is more detailed than originally planned. The original plan was to build an academy for ship girls to go to school and expand entertainment facilities. However, due to the departure of Li Chenming and others, another area in the inner harbor was also vacated. Therefore, plans to expand the relevant buildings of each camp and build various entertainment and commercial streets were submitted to Qin Ji. Qin Ji approved these without thinking. After all, he didn't know much about this aspect. As long as it was a proposal submitted by the company, I believe there would be merit, so as a layman, he only needed to nod. Just leave the rest to them. While the port area was being rebuilt in full swing, new results were produced in the scientific research building where Helena was located, and this new result was immediately submitted to Qin Ji. Looking at the familiar drawings in his hand, Qin Ji sat at his desk and looked up at Helena, who was standing not far in front of him. The transformation drawings have been made, but what about the possibility of mass production? Reporting to Commander, mass production has been achieved, but it requires a lot of materials, so far we can only maintain the consumption in our port area. Perhaps after the sirens continue to operate at sea, we can harvest new materials before we can proceed further. Expand that number, Helena explained. Qin Ji nodded, as long as it can satisfy our fleet, we will go into full production and then submit it to each camp for them to carry out transformation plans. In addition, has the number of people in the port area suitable for transformation been determined? It has been confirmed after testing, but there are a few people here who cannot be reformed for the time being, Helena said with some embarrassment. Huh? Some people can't be reformed, Qin Ji asked confused, what is the specific reason? Commander, it is about the transformation of ultra-rare ship girls into seaborne ship girls, and the transformation of some elite ship girls into ultra-rare ship girls, Helena explained. This kind of transformation requires specific transformations. Props, so until we get those props, we can't complete the transformation even if we have the transformation drawings. Huh? A Sea Legend level transformation, Qin Ji asked in surprise, so is it the kind of transformation that Ember Helena mentioned before? Yes, after current testing, there are 3 ship girls in the port area who can be promoted from ultra-rare class ship girls to Sea Legends, namely Royal Warspite, Shige Sakura's Yutaki, and White Eagle's Santiago. In addition, the transformation from elite-level ship girls to ultra-rare level ship girls is in Anshan in Donghuang and Changchun. Helena said. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment. There are actually 3 people who can be promoted to the legendary level of ship girls at sea. Yes, we were indeed a little surprised during the test, especially Santiago. She is usually too out of the ordinary, and it is hard to believe that she can actually be promoted to the level of a sea legend, Helena said. Qin Ji smiled and said, Helena, do you really think Santiago is a heartless person? No, Helena quickly shook her head. Qin Ji sighed, I think you know better than me about the honor of the White Eagle ship mother. As a cruiser, Santiago's achievements are second only to the Enterprise in your White Eagle. This alone can make many people proud. And do you really think that she didn't feel anything after going through those battles that make your heart ache just thinking about it? It's like you become Helena seeking power, looking forward to victory. Santiago, on the other hand, chose to hide these sorrows and make himself happy, using his silly and joyful emotions to infect other people around him. Whenever I see her singing loudly regardless of whether other people care or not, I may feel heartbroken, but more importantly, I feel proud. Therefore, being able to become a maritime legend is not an accident. In my opinion, it is indeed inevitable. Ah, Santiago. Helena opened her mouth in surprise, I didn't even notice it. Qin Ji smiled and said, now I'm telling you, it's okay as long as you know it. There's no need to preach anything. Just let her continue like this. Be a lively and lovely Santiago instead of becoming different from before. Helena was stunned for a moment, then nodded. She is a smart girl, so she naturally knows what Qin Ji is thinking. But I'm still a little surprised that Yutaki can become a maritime legend. Needless to say, war exhaustion, which fought from World War I to World War II, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and circled the Earth, should be said to be one of the best among battleships. But what Yutaki is famous for is the Battle of Solomon that you participated in, right? Qin Ji said. Helena nodded, that battle was very tragic. Qin Ji smiled and said, well, no matter what, it is indeed a good thing to be transformed into a sea legend. Maybe I can't look at them with normal eyes. By the way, didn't you say before that special props are needed for the renovation of Anshan and Changchun? Why? Could it be that like Donghuang's Anshan and Changchun, they will be transformed into guided missile destroyers? Indeed, Anshan and Changchun also have memories of the use of missiles, but now they cannot be reflected on the ship's equipment. They really need to be modified to recast the ship's equipment. However, the transformation of materials requires the power of the 4 symbols. To be honest, I really don't have much research on this. Maybe I can only ask Dong Huang for help to have a chance to complete this transformation. Helena said. Qin Ji nodded, Dong Huang can complete the transformation of Anshan and Changchun. I believe they will have such methods. If this is the case, then don't worry. When we set off to Dong Huang in a while, I go to Yuxian and ask. No matter how much it costs, the transformation of the 2 of them must be completed. After all, after becoming guided missile destroyers, the 2 of them can completely transform from ordinary destroyers into battleships. Yeah, I understand, Helena replied. Qin Ji smiled and nodded, what about you? Knowing yourself so well, you must have a corresponding transformation plan, right? Helena's face turned a little rosy, yes, but Commander, please look forward to it and look forward to the result. This time I will try my best to stand by your side. I am already prepared for this. Qin Ji smiled and said, that's really great. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu Ji. Chapter 821. As April is just approaching, the weather in Guam has become like summer. Even if you stand far away from the sea, you can feel the salty sea breeze. Although Qin Ji is already familiar with this kind of weather, he still huddles in the office at this moment, closes the window and turns on the air conditioner, enjoying this moment of summer comfort. With this, today's work is done, right? Qin Ji put down the document in his hand, raised his head and said. Yes, it seems that the commander is already familiar with this kind of work. Xiang He, who had long white hair and wore a kimono, stood next to Qin Ji, sorting the documents on the table and laughing. Qin Ji smiled and said, after all, this is the commander's job. If you can't even complete this, how can you do other things? By the way, today is Xiang He's first day as a secretaryship. How about it? Are you still used to it? Xiang He smiled softly, thank you for your concern, Commander. I'm quite used to it. It's good to get used to it. I'm afraid you won't get used to it, Qin Ji said. After summer, there are more and more affairs in the port area, which is also a big test for the secretaryship. Actually, before I became a secretaryship, I specifically asked many people about the details I should pay attention to, but they all told me not to be nervous, saying that the commander was very gentle. The result is indeed the case. It is much simpler than I imagined. It seems that this can be regarded as a good completion of the task. Xiang He said with a smile. Yes, Qin Ji nodded. Xiang He is interested. It doesn't matter, this is what I should do. Xiang He finished packing up the documents on his desk and asked Qin Ji, Commander, should you go patrol the port area now or go later? Qin Ji looked out the window, it's a little too hot now. Why don't we wait until it gets cooler? How about in the afternoon? Haha, if Commander feels it's too hot, I can actually go there alone, Xiang He said with a smile. Qin Ji shook his head, that's not what I mean it's too hot now, and everyone is busy with their own things, scientific research, work, and study. When we go to patrol the port area at this time, most places are deserted, and we can't know what else they need or whether they have done anything new today. So go in the afternoon, everyone should be there, so you can patrol the port area and understand everyone's needs at the same time. I see, so the commander has always relied on this to understand all the big and small things in the port area, Xiang He asked. Qin Ji smiled and said, of course it's more than that. I have many channels to understand what's happening in the port area. For example, the documents you just sorted out are more formal things in the port area. There are also daily patrols. Most of the time is to understand what happened during the patrol time. Of course, you can also learn some novel things. The most important thing is of course communicating with everyone, especially some destroyers, whose information is very fast. Haha, it's true, Xiang He smiled. Well, but the port area is indeed a little quiet now. Qin Ji stood up, walked to the window, looked at the sea through the window and said, when I used to work in the office, standing here, as long as it doesn't rain, it's fine. Saw a lot of destroyers playing on the beach. Now that there is Kanji Academy, everyone is going to class at this time, but they feel a little uncomfortable. I think taking classes is a good thing, especially now that there are special classes on ships such as Ember. It is very attractive to destroyers, cruisers, and even us, Xiang He said. Qin Ji nodded, teaching classes is indeed a good thing, I'm just a little emotional. But having said that, I really didn't expect that Yu Yan would offer to teach in our port area. Maybe they think they have to do something to live in our port area, or else they feel embarrassed, Xiang He guessed with a smile. Qin Ji shook his head. Of course he knew the specific reason, but he promised someone not to leak it, so he could only pretend not to know. They carried out ship modifications for us, and provided guidance on scientific research ship drawings, as well as guidance on scientific research modification projects. In this way, we owe them, but they have never owed us anything. Then I really didn't expect it. Maybe they think this is part of cooperation, Xiang He said with a smile. Maybe. Qin Ji nodded, by the way, I will be leaving the port area in a while. Is Xianghe ready? Commander, are you planning to leave for Donghuang? Xianghe asked. Well, I promised Anshan and Ruhi and the others before that they would take time to visit Donghuang and Chongying after returning from the Atlantic Ocean. It is almost April now. After going to Donghuang and Chongying, the polar regions, the ice and snow are gradually beginning to melt, and it's time for us to head to the polar regions at that time, Qin Ji said. I have made some preparations, and I am also quite curious about other camps in this world, Xianghe said. By the way, will everyone from all camps go by then? Qin Ji shook his head. Of course it won't be like this, just a few people will go. Most of them are people from Donghuang and Chongying, plus the existing ships in our port area, and I will invite a few embers follow. But it depends on their intentions. If they don't want to go to other camps, we can meet them at sea after leaving Chongying and head to the pole together. Moreover, when heading to the polar region, some people from Donghuang and Chongying must return to the port area. After all, we can't go with so many people at one time, otherwise the goal would be too big. Haha, if Commander does this, I'm afraid some people will be sad, Xianghe said with a smile. Qin Ji shrugged. There's no way. Northern United made the secret room vague last time, and we don't know much about the situation there, so it's better to be cautious. Ships are the high-end strength of our port area, and if we add embers, basically as long as there are not 2 or more arbiters, we can escape unscathed. So if too many people go, it will cause unnecessary trouble. I will explain this clearly to them when the time comes. It is true, but can I go to the Northern Alliance with the commander then? Xianghe asked. I have been practicing hard recently, and my training level has improved a lot. If the commander needs it, I can ready to fight at any time. Qin Ji smiled and said, we'll see when the time comes. I'm not sure yet. Maybe you can really go then, maybe. Hee, if that's the case, then I will step up my practice during this period and try to improve my strength. Otherwise, if I lose the opportunity to go to the polar regions due to training and technical reasons, it will be very difficult. It's distressing, Xianghe smiled. Ha, come on then. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 822. Office of the Port Commander. Qin Ji was reviewing documents as usual, but the difference was that in addition to Xianghe, who was the secretary ship, there were several more camp leaders in the office. The transformation is proceeding steadily. Have the earliest batch of ship girls completed the collective transformation now? Qin Ji looked at the documents and raised his head and asked. Yes, Enterprise nodded. Except for Warspite and Santiago, everyone has completed the transformation. While their rarity has been improved, they have also become much stronger than before. Qin Ji nodded. So is there any progress in the transformation of Santiago, Warpity, and Zilly? Helena once asked Helena of Ember, and the answer she got was that she liked the thing the most, and suggested that we move the research direction closer to that aspect, including the required transformation drawings and transformation opportunities. However, this answer is very vague. It just points out the direction and does not indicate the specific process, so we are still studying it now. I hope this trip to Donghuang can answer this question. After all, the transformation of Anshan and Changchun was not just done through transformation drawings. The company replied. Yes, I understand. Qin Ji nodded and picked up another document beside him. Akashi has collected the current warehouse reports. This batch of steel we need can be transformed into a batch of ships. Do you have any suggestions for this group of candidates? If I really want to make a suggestion, I suggest giving priority to Maritime Legend class ship girls, King George V said. Haha, that's what I mean too. The company nodded. We were the first to try it when we converted it into ships, but to be honest, if we want to improve the overall strength of our port area, we can't do it now. 2. You can only choose the optimal solution. When it is not a ship, the power of the sea legend has been witnessed by everyone. That kind of powerful strength cannot be described in words. So it is conceivable that if they become real ships, their strength should be stronger than ours now. Especially this time we are going to the secret room of the Northern Alliance, and we still need top combat power to be present. Therefore, I have the same suggestion as King George V of England, to give priority to converting sea legend level ship girls. Although it sounds a bit bragging, I also recommend converting us first. Musashi smiled and said, I can feel that there is still a huge power in my body that has not been discovered. If it is activated, it will be stronger than before. I want to be many times stronger. Moreover, I feel that only when it truly becomes a ship can it display its true strength at the sea legend level. Otherwise, it will not be able to highlight the excellence of the sea legend level if it is just more powerful than the ultra-rare or the highest plan level ships. I can be considered an old man in the fleet, but this time I still recommend the legendary ship girls at sea. In fact, sometimes to measure the strength of a fleet, what we look at is not the average combat power, but the top group of people. So I think we should switch to legendary level ship girls at sea to deal with sudden crises that may arise in the future. Veneto said, and several other leaders meant the same thing. Qin nodded, I understand. Then this time, as you said, priority will be given to converting the maritime legendary ships, and the next conversion quota will be allocated to your respective camps. Next, let's talk about the candidates who will go to Donghuang and Chongying this time. In addition to all the ship girls in Donghuang and Chongying, some of you will stay in the port area, while others will follow me to the secret room. As you just said, after converting the legendary ships of the sea this time, I will take them all with me. I will also discuss with Ember to take 2 or 3 of them with me. That means it's about staying in the port area now, right? Prince Eugen smiled. Qin nodded, yes, although I really want to take you away, but now the development of the port area has reached a critical moment, and someone must be on duty in the port area. So who is the candidate in the commander's mind? Enterprise asked. Me. Qin thought for a moment. To be honest, I am actually a little hesitant about this matter. For example, your company and Musashi are now responsible for communications research and various affairs in the port area, and Bismarck and Frederick the Great are responsible for experiments. On the other side of the field, Soviet Rosia and King George V were in charge of college affairs. After all, only Veneto and Richelieu were free. So if I ask, Enterprise, Frederick the Great, and King George V stayed in the port area, and the others followed me to Donghuang. Frederick the Great? Didn't the commander say that he would bring all the sea legend level ship girls with him? Why should Frederick the Great be left to guard the experimental site? Prince Eugen asked. Qin smiled and said, a certain choice must be made between Bismarck and Frederick the Great. As our port area, naturally we still need a maritime legend to control the situation here. Bismarck is a serious person and may not be able to convince everyone in the fleet. But Frederick the Great didn't have this worry. If an emergency happened, I think it would be much better for her to be here. That's true. King George V smiled, although our royal family and Iron Blood had some friction before, but speaking of matters, Frederick the Great is indeed more suitable to stay behind the scenes than Bismarck. However, although the royal family cannot go with the commander this time, the commander is asked to bring a few maids with him so that we can take care of him personally and those of us in the port area can feel at ease. Haha, your royal family is really sparing no effort, and you have actually started to think of solutions in this aspect, Prince Eugen said with a smile. Isn't it true? Compared to taking care of the commander, who would be better than Belfast and the others, King George V said. Qin coughed and said, there is no need for just a few. I will just take Belfast with me when the time comes. The other maids will also stay to take care of Elizabeth and the others. That's okay. King George V nodded. Her purpose was very clear, that is, Qin must have someone from the royal family around him. It doesn't matter who he is, as long as he sees it, it reminds Qin Ji of the royal family. That's it. I have no objection to this candidate. Staying in the port area is also a kind of support for the fleet enterprise. Shook his head and said. We have no objection either, others said. Qin Ji nodded. Since everyone has no objections, it has been decided that after all the sea legends have completed the ship transformation, we will set off for Donghuang. Therefore, those who are going to set off now should be well prepared. In addition, after Donghuang and Chongying's people leave, the remaining people must also allocate their positions. Clear. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 823. Looking at the Ember building in front of him, Qin Ji remembered that the last time he came was just after returning to the port area, right? Although Ember has been very active in the port area recently, the number of times he appears in front of Qin Ji is much less than before. Sure enough, I don't want to reveal too many flaws, because being around me for a long time will always arouse some vigilance. As long as I talk about cooperation with other ship girls, I can minimize this vigilance. Qin Ji thought this, but he didn't want to expose what Ember ship girl had done. After all, their test is for the sake of all the ship girls and the continuation of their lives. If it hadn't been for what Song Kinga said back then, he might have continued like this until the day the answer to the mystery was revealed. With this thought, Brother Qin took Xiang He, who was the secretary ship, into the building where Yi Yan lived. This time, Qin Ji was greeted by counterattack and Fuzang. Looking at the tea in front of him, Qin Ji picked it up and took a sip. My tea-making skills are pretty good. Haha, Commander Qin Ji, who is used to drinking the tea made by the maid team, can say this about the tea I made, which is indeed a high compliment, counterattack said with a smile. This is really not a compliment, it's just a matter of fact, Qin Ji said. Speaking of the others, are you two the only ones in this building now? No, the hunter and sister are still in the room, and no one else is there, he said in counterattack. Qin Ji nodded. I know that Shan Cheng has gone to the Ship Girl Academy, and Helena is busy with transformation-related matters here, but what about the others? Fei Long is also in the academy now, but in the training ground. She likes fighting, and the training ground is very suitable for her. Nizana and Scharnhorst went to the experimental field together. As for the Royal Ark, it goes without saying, Hong Kong, wherever there are the most destroyers in the port area, she will be there, Fuzu said on the side. As for Memphis, she is also in the Scientific Research Institute in the port area. Okay, I don't know about this, Qin Ji said. But this is not the case. In fact, he is very familiar with the traces of embers in the port area, because there are special ship girls who report these to him, but in the documents he handles every day, there will never be any such situation. After all, we can't let Ember's ship girls think that Qin Ji is monitoring them every day, at least not in a big way. So what's the purpose of Commander Qin Ji's visit this time? Counterattack asked with a smile. Well, actually, it's nothing important. I just came here to see how you are doing during your time in the port area. Is there anything you need? During the last Siren Tide, you helped us a lot, and we also cooperated at a deeper level. During this period, our port area's strength has improved a lot because of you, but your current requirements are, so there are some. Feel sorry for yourself. Qin Ji asked. Haha, there is no such thing as helping or not. Fighting against antics and the arbiters is our daily life, so rather than helping you, it is more like doing it casually. As for future cooperation, it is a matter of mutual consent on both sides. Commander Qin Ji's port area has already provided what we need, and we are providing you with what we know accordingly. Maybe there are some things that you think have very high technological content, but for us we don't pay much. So there is no regret, Commander Chin-Ge, please relax. If we really need Commander Chin-Ge's fleet to complete something, we will not be stingy and will tell you directly," said the counterattack. Chin-Ge nodded, "I understand this, but it's just your contribution for such a long time, so I feel a little guilty. But now that you have said that, I feel at ease. By the way, I may have to go out in a few days. I won't be in the port area for about half a year. At that time, I will keep the corresponding people in the port group. If you have any questions, just go to them." "Hey, Commander Chin-Ge is leaving the port area. Where are you going? What are you going to do?" Fuzang asked. Previously, the Siren Tide caused heavy losses to each camp, but it also strengthened our cooperation and exchanges with the major camps. We have negotiated some things with those camps on the Atlantic side before, but Donghuang and Chongying who are still here have not negotiated, so the main purpose this time is to talk to Donghuang and Chongying about the future. As for the cooperation, by the way, I will take the ship girls in the port area to revisit their old places. Next, we will go to the polar regions and work with the Northern Alliance to explore the secret chambers previously discovered by the Northern Alliance. So when all these things are added up, it will take about half a year to come and go. Chin-Ge didn't hide anything. He believed that the Ember Camp was already planning these things. After all, they were now considered traitors. Sure enough, after Chin-Ge finished speaking, both the counterattack and Fuzang were instantly clear, and Fuzang showed a more dignified look. It's a good thing that Commander Chin-Ge went to talk to Donghuang and Chongying about cooperation, but I still want to consider exploring the secret room discovered by the Northern Alliance, Fuzang said. "Oh? Why? Is there any secret hidden in that secret room?" Chin-Ge asked doubtfully. "As far as I know, there are some strange fluctuations in that secret room. We are very familiar with those fluctuations. There should be people like arbiters there, so if you rush to explore without enough strength, it will be easy to he fell into a dangerous situation," Fuzi replied. Chin-Ge waved his hand, "Don't worry, I am more prepared for this exploration. This time, except for the Enterprise, Frederick the Great and King George V, they stayed in the port area and the experimental site to take charge. I will bring others who have already converted to ships, and after the ship conversion of Sea Legend next, I believe we will have a fleet strong enough to fight the Arbiter. And listening to what you said, if there is an Arbiter in the secret room, there must be something special, and such a thing is worth taking the risk. But unnecessary risks will cause unnecessary burdens. Although Commander Chin-Ge's fleet is slowly increasing, if there are 2 or more arbiters, there will still be great danger," Fuzang said. "I have a method here. I wonder if you all agree," Chin-Ge said. "What method?" Counterattack asked. "I hope to invite a few of you Embers to go to the secret room of the Northern Union with me. If we explore it by then, the safety factor will be much higher. And if you find what you want there, then I can promise to these things are left to you. So, what do you think?" Chin-Ge asked. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu-Ge. Chapter 824. In response to Chin-Ge's request, Counterattack agreed without hesitation. She didn't say it right away as to who she wanted to follow, but said that we would discuss it after you come back. Upon hearing this, Chin-Ge expressed his understanding, and after continuing to chat for a while, Chin-Ge said goodbye and left. The purpose of this trip has been achieved. If he continues to stay here, Chin-Ge will be afraid that he will expose something. One day later, Xianghe reported that the steel had been transferred into place. Chin-Ge didn't waste any time on this. He quickly asked Xianghe to contact Ember Helena at the Port Area Scientific Research Center, and then notified all the legendary ship girls at sea to gather at the newly built coastal port in the afternoon. After all, the previous port has been used by the people of the Grand Fleet. If you go there rashly, you will disturb them. So Qin simply built a row of warehouses not far from the port area, which would be more convenient for future conversions, not far from the port area. The reason why the announcement was made in the afternoon was because it was necessary to give Frederick the Great time to return from the test site, otherwise the ship conversion could be completed in the morning. Frederick the Great was also very interested in the ship conversion. He rushed back as soon as he received Qin communication and had already returned to the port area before noon. However, since it was scheduled in the afternoon, it was determined to be held in the afternoon. After just patrolling the port area at noon, Qin was dragged to the port by the impatient New Jersey before he finished his meal. This time, because it was not far from the port area and it was lunchtime, a large number of ship girls came to watch. Looking at the mountains of steel and the neatly arranged resources, everyone was filled with excitement and curiosity. After all, they didn't actually watch it last time. This time they can observe it on the spot, and they can also imagine how powerful they will be if they are transformed into ships in the future. The first one to be converted was Shinano, the port's original maritime legend. She followed Songlin's arrangement and stood on the converter. As Helena started the machine, Songlin put his hand on the converter. A strange wave rippled through Songlin's body, and the connection of his soul drifted toward Shinano, who was beginning to change. Just like the previous companies, there were no accidents. When the white light dissipated, Shinano and Qin opened their eyes at the same time, but at this moment Shinano's appearance had changed a lot. Although she still looked casual, the astrological balls flying behind her and the blue butterflies dancing around her added to Shinano's ethereal temperament. Is this the power of the ship? I hope all this will not be in vain. Shinano felt his own power and said to Qin who was approaching. Of course it won't be in vain. We have agreed before that we will face the misfortune or luck of fate together, Qin said with a smile. Haha, compared to this, I am somewhat looking forward to the power Shinano has obtained, Musashi said on the side. Power. Shinano turned to look in the direction of the sea. As she waved her hand, a blue light flashed on her body, and then transformed into a huge aircraft carrier and appeared on the sea in front of everyone. Just as everyone was amazed, the aircraft carrier on the sea converted into a ship suit and flew beside Shinano. Then a blue butterfly flew out from Shinano's hand, and this scene looked like a beautiful picture in front of everyone. But the next moment, the butterflies in the sky suddenly transformed into flying carrier-based aircraft. Several squadrons of carrier-based aircraft rushed forward in overwhelming numbers. When flying to a place far away from everyone, use different postures and different forms to drop bombs in the sea. Then it flew and transformed into a ghost butterfly, slowly landed on Shinano's hand and disappeared. Such an attack is more ghostly and more concealed, Enterprise exclaimed. She was also an aircraft carrier herself, so she could clearly sense Shinano's power. That's true, Qin nodded. Then it's Frederick the Great's turn next. Haha, I have been looking forward to this moment for a long time, so let me try how much power a ship can control. After speaking, Emperor Frederick stood on the conversion table, and Qin also to get started with the conversion. Like the previous performance, the conversion process went smoothly. When the two opened their eyes as if they were in a heart-to-heart, you could see the excitement flashing in Frederick the Great's dark golden pupils. Haha, I feel like I can make more subtle fun. Frederick the Great turned around and looked at the sea, and the ship uniform on his body suddenly appeared. This time the ship's outfit is more vivid than the previous one, making people feel that it is no longer as simple as a ship's outfit, but as if it is like two giant dragons with life. In a daze, the two giant dragons opened their mouths, roared and fired two laser-like rays towards the sea. The huge explosion sounded in everyone's ears, and the huge waves rising into the sky told the power of the attack just now. It's amazing, everyone exclaimed. Is this a ship? Compared with the previous Frederick the Great, it is simply a qualitative leap. Haha, it's really amazing, but I believe I won't be bad. It's my turn next. New Jersey was also gearing up after watching Frederick the Great's performance. She said to Qin Ji, "Commander, then please." Qin Ji smiled and said, "Don't worry, leave it to me. You are only responsible for getting stronger." As he spoke, New Jersey stood where Frederick the Great had just left. Helena also restarted the ship transformation. As the white light shone, Qin Ji began to link his soul to New Jersey. The whole connection process didn't take long. When the two opened their eyes at the same time, the New Jersey in front of them had changed a lot. Like a halo, a huge electric arc appeared behind her, and next to the arc, there were several rotating blade crystals, which looked very sci-fi. It feels really good. New Jersey felt his own power, and finally couldn't wait to show off his ship's equipment and fired a few shots at the sea in the distance. At the same time as the cannon was fired, the electric arc behind New Jersey also flashed with fierce light, causing every shell she fired to be filled with a blue light. At the impact point of the cannonball, a column of water rose into the sky instantly, and at the same time, the sea surface around the impact point began to boil as if it was electrified. It seemed that the attack effect was very good. Haha, maybe battleships will become obsolete, but the Iowa class will not, New Jersey said with satisfaction, while not forgetting to wink at Qin Ji. Qin Ji smiled when he saw this. Just as he was about to say something, he was pulled back to his feet by the vanguard and began to change. "Oh, it's really hard, Commander." "Yeah, in every sense of the word.